And today on TLC Live, we have Lina Prado. She is a candidate for Bexar County Commissioner Pct.1, and many things going on in the politics.
Wait, where's Bexar County?
By San Antonio?
It's called Bear.
¿Es no Bexar?
In Spanish, it's Bejar.
Okay.
Pero en
So
inglés,
yo hablo
Bear.
español.
You got to be a Texan. Good morning, everybody. I'm trying to teach her the name of our counties here in Texas.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to TLC Live. Welcome, Orlando Sanchez. I am Andrea Gomez.
It is called Bejar in Spanish because the J is pronounced like an H. It's a bit complicated for our English speakers. So in English, we call it Bexar County. Like, let's see, there's, Palacios. Palacios is the English word for palacios.
Palacio, sí.
Which palacios means palaces.
Es como Manhattan. Yo digo Manhattan.
Okay, lots going
Pero
on.
todo el mundo sabe que yo soy latina, que llegué a este país sin saber inglés.
Yeah.
Y todavía sigo aprendiendo. So Bexar is fine.
Excuse me, I'm over here you choked me up. All right.
I'm about to.
Our little pumpkin over here is
Well,
looking...
it's Halloween.
I know. Excuse me, I know.
This weekend is Halloween, and tomorrow is my birthday.
Birthday. Tomorrow's her birthday.
It's my birthday, so happy birthday to me.
And if we put a candle on you, you look like a real jack-o'-lantern.
or like a carrot cake.
I can hire you to come sit on my front porch and entertain the kids.
Oh, God, you're hurting my feelings.
No, you look lovely, really. I do appreciate how ladies always try to dress according to the season.
Absolutely.
All right, a couple of things to remind you of. Number one, we have elections going on here in Houston and certainly across the state of Texas. There are 14 constitutional amendments. So whether you live in Harris County or in the city of Houston, go out and vote. If you live in the county, you'll be voting on the state constitutional amendments. If you live in the city of Houston, you'll be voting on the constitutional amendments. Plus, you'll have to select who you believe will be the next mayor of Houston, who will be the next city controller, which, as you all know, I'm on the ballot. And then all the council members that are up for election. So make sure you go out and vote. And let's talk about another important issue that's on the ballot for Harris County residents, and that is Proposition A. That is a bond issue for Harris Health. That is our public health system. And the reason that's important, and we've talked about this in the past, and I won't spend a lot of time on it, Andrea, is that you know that Harris County has about 6 million people, and the National College of Thoracic Surgeons recommends that we have one level 1 trauma center per million people. So Houston really should be close to 6 level 1 trauma centers. Unfortunately, we only have 2. They're both side by side in the medical centers. That means if you have a traumatic accident anywhere outside of the medical center and the weather's bad and Life Flight can't fly, you're in deep trouble. And even if an ambulance could take you to Harris County, Bentob, or to Memorial Hermann, 40% of the time they're on drive-by status because they're so full. So it's a real dangerous situation for our community. And so the bond issue, Proposition A, is to rehabilitate Bentob General Hospital at additional capacity, but more importantly, is to construct a brand new level 1 trauma center on the northeast side of Houston on the footprint, which is LBJ Hospital. In addition to that, we're going to increase capacity for mental health care in Harris County. As you know, mental health care was important in the past because a former Harris County Judge, Ed Emmett, made it a big issue, talking about the homeless and those that have mental issues. And then obviously today, our county judge has admitted mental health issues. So mental health is a big, important issue. So we're going to expand capacity for mental health and then expand services into community clinics throughout Harris County that Harris Health offers. And that kind of dovetails into an important issue that we've been talking about with regard to pharmacies. You want to tell us a little bit about what you've learned, Andrea?
Well, I was reading that CVS and Walgreens
And Rite Aid.
Yes, they're about to close hundreds of pharmacies. So we were supposed to have a guest today, but it happens that he got busy and, has
Well,
another.
he's a lawyer, and I
He's
think
a
he
lawyer.
got called into court.
Exactly. So then we call somebody else. And I have the recorder of the message. She sent me a record message.
Who is she?
Um,
Was it Dr. Vaughn?
no. She
Was it
Marlene. So
Trujillo?
correct. So
A
who is she?
PhD.
And I will play her
Marlene
her
Trujillo
message.
runs one of the largest nonprofit clinics in Houston that has satellite clinics. I met Marlene years ago when I ran for mayor. She was actually a college student. Now she has earned her PhD, and she runs Spring Branch Community Health Care System, which is a nonprofit system in Houston. And she is probably the smartest person I know with respect to community health and providing services to the community, but particularly the underserved, the undocumented, those without insurance, those who work at restaurants and may not have health care provided by their employers. So we asked her to come on the program. I know that she's extremely busy. And we asked her,
it was a last minute.
Yeah, it was a last minute, and but she was kind
She
enough
said
to
she has a
respond.
staff meeting, so she replied with the answer for us to play.
Okay.
So I will.
And
Hola, Andrea. Good morning. I can't break off. I'm so help you guys out. Am I talking about this subject? But after taking a glance at the article, just on the federal side, we have pharmacies. So we are kind of running our own pharmacies to help the uninsured on site. And we have contracts with different pharmacies for reduced pricing on pharmacies. So I don't think it's a huge blow to our community in Houston or Texas. So just keep that in mind. I think it's probably in other sectors of the U.S. But again, I'm so sorry I can't join. I can't cancel my strategic planning meeting with.
okay, well,
That's good to know.
But let me just say, and while I appreciate everything our federally qualified health clinics and our nonprofit clinics are doing, and I'd love to have Marlene on the show, and we will, because this is going to be an issue.
Yeah.
Like we have food deserts in Houston, where there are communities that have no grocery stores, everything is processed food. We're about to start on a trend of not having adequate pharmacies. Mm-hmm. Now, I know that the federally qualified health clinics and the community nonprofit health clinics don't have the inventory that a Walgreens
Absolutely.
or CVS. So yes, while they probably have some standard antibiotics and some standard steroids and some standard inhalers and probably some insulin, they don't have the capacity and the inventory that a major multi-billion-dollar pharmacy has. And so it's dangerous. I know these things start off in regions, and it's starting in the Pacific Northwest, where they're in Seattle in particular. I don't know if, Mark, did you download that? Let's run a story so you can get an idea of an emerging healthcare issue in this country. As Marlene said, it may not affect Houston right away in Texas, but this is an emerging issue that we need to discuss.
Target is closing 9 stores in the U.S. It's pretty popular. It's just because of crime they're having to do this. Today, the company announced that it's closing 1 store in New York City, 2 in Seattle, and 3 each in Portland, Oregon, and San Francisco Bay Area. Target says theft and organized retail crime at the stores is threatening the safety of its employees, customers, and, quote, contributing to unsuitable business performance. The 9 stores will close effective October 21st.
So you can see, Andrea, unsuitable business performance. What that means is CVS, Walgreens, Target, Costco, they're in the business of making money. And because they're able to make a lot of money as capitalists, they're able to buy in volumes and provide you with a good variety at very low cost. But and this is a great issue. When society begins to unravel, this is important, when the criminal courts don't do their jobs, when police don't have the ability to enforce the laws and arrest people, and even if they arrest them, the courts turn them right out. And when you see what's happening in Seattle and San Francisco, where stores are shutting because the crime is running rampant, this begins to affect the community, because now they're going to close and they're leaving our communities. And so where do we go? So there's a consequence to pay. I know that our friends on the far, far left have been funding, like George Soros has been funding district attorneys and judges around the country that will release violent criminals immediately back onto the streets because they feel that the criminal justice system is unfair and racist. I mean, let's just get to the bottom line. And so what happens is the career criminal realizes there is no consequence for bad behavior. So they will go steal drugs and merchandise from retailers, and retailers say, well, this store now is losing money, so we're going to close it. And that affects us. This is an emerging issue. The reason I'm bringing it up is because it's going to affect us. Yes, there's community nonprofit clinics and there are federally qualified clinics, but I will tell you it's not the same thing.
Of course, it's not. I mean, and when you go to Walgreens or CVS, it's not just to buy medicine. You can find so many things. I go for even makeup. So now.
So do I.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, I know. Now that you're constantly on TV, of course. So that's a big issue. So back to the Proposition A. So
we have to vote for it. Proposition A.
You have to vote for it. That's very important to say.
$2.5 billion to support Harris Health, which has. I mean, we've done shows on this before, but just about every physician and every trauma physician in this region and Texas and around the country train at Ben Taub. Nurses, practitioners, physicians get their training at Ben Taub. Baylor College of Medicine, the University of Texas Health Science Center, probably some of the University of Houston new graduates from the medical school. Along with HCA Hospital, that's the teaching hospital for the University of Houston. But it's important to vote for Proposition A, Prop A in Harris County, to expand, improve health care, and particularly Level 1 trauma. And for those that don't understand, Level 1 Trauma Center means that these trauma centers like Ben Taub, Memorial Hermann, and potentially the new LBJ have every discipline, whether it's a cardiologist, whether it's an orthopedic surgeon, whether it's a pulmonologist, whether it's an endocrinologist. They have every discipline in medicine on site 24/7, 365 days a year. In addition to, it's a teaching institution, it's tied and associated with the medical school, and so those are important for the community. So make sure you vote for Prop A.
Make sure you vote now. Right now, we are in early voting. Started on Monday, and it's going to end on November 3rd. And then the election is going to be November 7th. After that, many of the races are going to go to the runoff. And I want you explain that because that's very important. People, this morning, I was filming a surgery for a plastic surgeon that he's my client. And the lady, the patient, was telling me, you know what, Andrea? If it's not because I'm following you in social media, I wouldn't even know that we are in elections.
Yeah.
She said, I stopped watching news. I don't watch anything. So just because I was following you, that I realized, oh my God, it's elections, and we're gonna elect the mayor and the council members.
You know, there's a sad statistic of Americans that are 18 years of age and older eligible to vote. About 75% of those, maybe 80%, are registered voters. And so while they turn out to vote in the national elections for the presidency, and by the way, the president never picks up your garbage or responds to your house in an ambulance or makes sure that the infrastructure in your city's working. That's not that important of a race, you know. But everybody thinks it is. But so 80% of the 18 years of age or older are registered voters who are eligible to vote. But then when you drill down to the state elections, the number of people that participate drops off. And if you go to off-year elections, in municipalities like Houston, do you know that less than 15% of registered voters actually will go vote?
Exactly.
It's sad. And then everybody wants to complain about police response, the lack of medical equipment for our firefighters, the lack of pay for firefighters and first responders, the quality of our streets, the flooding, the dumping, the infrastructure. And it reminds me of a story. You know, I served on city council with council member Michael Yarbrough from District B many years ago, and he tells a story that there was a man traveling through East Texas, and he came across another man sitting on the porch on a rocking chair, and he noticed that there was a dog at the end of the porch that was moaning and groaning. Oh, the dog was moaning just... And the traveler asked the man sitting on the porch, "Why is that dog moaning and groaning?" And the man said, "He's sitting on a nail." And the man says, "Well, why doesn't he get up?" And the old man on the rocking chair says, "I guess it doesn't hurt bad enough." And that's the elections that we're in. Everybody in Houston wants to complain. We're all sitting on the nail. Streets are bad, traffic's bad, transportation's bad, lack of police officers. And we're moaning and groaning, but I guess it doesn't hurt bad enough for people to get up and go vote. And that's a sad story. So we encourage you to go vote. You have several, 10 more days of early voting?
Till November 3rd.
You can vote at any location around the city. Just go to Harris Votes, and all the locations will be there. Or go to the League of Women Voters of Houston and find out who all the candidates are, what the issues are, what the constitutional amendments are, and just please go vote.
Very important. So talking about please go vote, not only here in Harris County, but around Texas. So that's why we have our guest today. She's Lina Prado, es candidata para el condado de Bexar, comisionada precinto 1.
Y yo voy a traducir. So Andrea said that our guest today is the fabulous, the one and only Lina Prado, who is running as, I think, position 2 for... It's
precinct 1.
Precinct 1, I'm sorry. Yeah. Precinct 1 in Bexar County in San Antonio. She is not on the ballot now this November, but she will be on the ballot next year, and she's getting an early start. I will say that I'm extremely proud of this young lady because she has a fabulous story, which I think... There's a video of her, Mark, talking about how she emigrated to the United States, remembers...
he said no.
Yeah, we don't have it, but I think it's on YouTube or something. It's a great video. Lina will tell us all about it, but she emigrated to the United States with her mother, and she talks about her dreams and aspirations, remembers flying on that airplane from the Dominican Republic to the United States. Lina got her college education. She's a mom. She's a corporate executive. And she is, most importantly, a graduate of Leadership Latino. She came to our school many years ago, and we're proud of Lina. And this woman is going to be a dynamite commissioner for Precinct 1 in Bexar County in San Antonio. So, Lina, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you, and good morning. I'm so glad to be here this morning.
Good morning, Lina. Well, we don't have your video, but we have you live, so you can tell us your story.
Well, we have this terrible, we have a terrible echo. Lina, we have a terrible echo from yours. I don't know if it's your phone, or if you have two systems up, but it's not going to work. I don't know if you can.
No, it's fixed. No?
Is it fixed?
Well, I went on mute, that's why.
Yeah, but we can't every time. Okay, when you respond to the question, go ahead. Well, you can't mute yourself. This is not going to work.
No, but she doesn't have the echo.
Okay, go ahead, Lina.
Yeah, I don't have the echo, so I'm sorry for that, Orlando. But like you mentioned, Andrea and Orlando, yes, I immigrated here when I was 7. I actually, one of the main things that my parents wanted was for me to have an opportunity in this country, to be able to have that American dream. And that is the reason why I'm running for office, because we are in a state, in our county, and in our city, in our state, where we might lose that opportunity where we might not be able to have that American dream that is available. Like you mentioned, Orlando, we are focusing on the presidential election and everything else, but we don't focus on what's next door to us. What are those opportunities, the things that we should worry about? If you are driving your car and there's a pothole and it damages your tire, now you have to spend more money on an inflated economy so you can go in and fix that car. Those are the type of things that we need to worry about. The crime is getting out of hand. As we saw that video, businesses are being impacted and they're going to be unsuitable in their closing locations. That is an impact to especially Latinos, where there's already a desert of food, there's already a desert of services. In my area in Bexar County in Precinct 1, we have areas where we don't even have via and transportation that goes to individuals that have maybe one car or zero cars in their neighborhood. If we can allow crime to continue increasing, those businesses will go out of that location. And now we are going to even become a bigger desert. And that is why I want to bring to County Commissioner's Court that experience that I've had as an immigrant, as a mom, as a person that started at the bottom in a corporate company and had been able to work hard and be able to rise myself into leading a large organization. That same dedication I want to bring into County Commissioner's Court and be able to work hard for the people in my neighborhood, the people that I'm neighbors with.
Lina, you ran for another position before, right?
No, this is actually my first position that I run for. I've been an airport commissioner as an appointed position. And I'm sorry, my camera just decided to lose it for me. But I have been an airport commissioner that has been appointed, and I've served in multiple boards of education as well as boards for different nonprofits. But this is my first time running for office.
What made you decide to run for office? And this is a very hard job to do.
Well, mainly because I was one of those complainers. I was one of those that, I vote and I vote and I just keep complaining and going out and saying, hey, can we make this better? And, my husband and I sat down and said, you know what? Nobody's listening. If not I, then who? I need to be that person. I have the experience. I'm able to do those things that I want my public officials to put in place. They're not listening because they don't have that experience. So why not me? Let me just go and use the experience that I have and be able to put it and give back to my community.
Lina, tell us a little bit about your immigrant experience here in the United States.
So when I came here when I was 7, didn't know English, right? So that was a struggle there. I had to learn the language. But then the other piece is I had to mature at a very young age. Because my parents, they had the American dream as well, but they didn't know the language. So I had to learn and be able to translate. Like many Latinos, we have our kids are the ones that are providing the information to the parents. I was that child that was reading and signing all the forms and making sure, my parents were doing and having that American dream. I grew up with my mother that was very independent. She had a college degree in the Dominican Republic, but here, since she didn't know the language, she didn't want to just stay at home. So she actually opened a business. She went and studied how to be a beautician, and she started her own business. And through that journey, I was there translating and being able to help her. My father, which now is retired as a welder, just experienced a lot of discrimination because he didn't know the language as well, but he was really good at his job, so he had that support where people were pushing him and helping him. So I saw the good and the bad, right? And I learned that I'm here in America. I had to embrace that there's an opportunity that we as immigrants, we have an opportunity that we don't have in our countries, right? So I had to learn how to acclimate to the culture, and that has paid off dividends. That's one of the things that I feel we need to focus, the education piece. And not the education, I'm not talking about going to a 4-year college or that piece, but the education of learning how does the American system operates. What are the things that those politicians that we are voting for, what is it that they do? Because I feel immigrants, or Latinos, right, or people of color, we are told we have to vote a certain way. we all have to be Democrats. In different, there's different levels of Democrats. But the reason why we continue to follow, and even though it doesn't align with what we believe, is because we failed to do that education. Our kids are the one, telling us, hey, here, this is what you have to sign, this is what you have to do. But they might not know that conservative values that we are teaching, or, our culture is built in that conservative values. We fail to translate that in that piece of the education. So Latinos, we need to spend more time educating other Latinos on, hey, this is what you believe for, this is what your values is, this is the jobs and the politicians that are in place, this is the policies that are putting in place, and we need to do a better job. So in my campaign, that's one of the things that I'm doing. Everything that I post it in English, I post it in Spanish. My website, you can go to my website, you can click at the bottom, and the entire website will become Spanish. So because I want to make sure everybody gets the same message, everybody has that education. Our grassroots, we're going in and we're having that discussion. It's not about, hey, I'm running as a Republican. It's about, hey, this is what I believe in. This is that conservative values that I have. What are yours? And then everybody's having that conversation. They're opening up. They're talking about what they believe in. And then I go in and I educate on, this is the policies that are in place. This is what's at stake. And a lot of people are very receptive. They're actually following and understanding a little bit more of what is at stake in this next election.
Lina, when we're talking, hit the mute button. That way it'll kill the echo. So if you, there you go. All right. I love her story. You know why? Because Lina talks about how she was the translator, the document signer for her parents.
And that was your story.
That was my story.
Yes.
When I got here in 1962, nobody spoke Spanish in Houston. And so I was the official translator for the family, for both my mom and my dad. And it was just, it's an amazing story when I hear that, because that's exactly what I had to do as a child. And it actually was good for me, because that's how I learned how to speak English. I didn't experience that, because I came to this country when I was 25 years old, and I brought my parents. But my mom, till now, she's still not speaking English. My dad speaks English, not absolutely fluent, but he can manage. But if I'm with my mom by myself at a doctor's office, or at any office, or anything, or even at the store, I'm the one that have to translate all the time for my mom and read everything. And she take a picture now, and she sent me via WhatsApp, because we Latinos communicate via WhatsApp, no text. And she said via WhatsApp, and she's like, I got this letter. What did that mean? Sometimes my dad is not there, or she doesn't even want to ask him. Yeah. So we're still translating for our parents. You can say that she exceeded her credit card limit. She didn't want your dad to see that. Well, let me just say this. I find Lina's candidacy for Bexar County Commissioner Precinct 1 to be a fascinating candidacy. Because, the American media has conditioned people about checking off boxes, right? Woman, African American, person of color, immigrant, Latina, mother, corporate leader. She checks every box. Yeah. And so it's going to be really curious to see what happens in this race. But I say that Lina is the most attractive, the most accomplished, the most competent candidate that I've seen in a long time. And as you know,
she's the whole package.
That's what I said. She checks all the boxes. She's the whole package. And I think everyone that believes in conservative values in Texas, and capitalism and economic opportunity, in giving people an opportunity, you've got to go to Lina Prado's website and make a contribution. I know her race is not till next year, but here's the thing. Conservatives need to invest in quality candidates. These candidates, we're like products. You have to invest in us so that we can get our message out to the community. I'm telling you, and I've known Lina for years, she is a stellar candidate. She is a premier candidate. She is a rock star. And San Antonio is lucky to have her and have her time as a mom, as a businesswoman, as a wife to dedicate, because as we know, running for office is a huge sacrifice that she's taking. She's carving
Yeah.
out this time in her life as a young mom and a young businesswoman to fight for the people of Bexar County and Precinct 1. So, Lina, let me ask you, and then you can unmute yourself because this is great. We don't have an echo. What are the three top issues that are you talking about in San Antonio to the folks out in your precinct?
So it's, one of the main things is safer communities. We need to feel safe. As you mentioned, I am a mother. I want to make sure I go out into the streets and my children are safe, right? So one of the things that we're doing is looking at the diversity of what safer communities actually mean. It's making sure that, yes, our first responders, our police officers, we are hiring the right candidates, that we are providing the right amount of money so we can hire the right individuals. But then looking at the complexity of it, right? Crime is not just one very linear. We are having a lot of opportunities with the youth that don't have the resources, right, to go play sports and to do different activities that prevent them to go into doing these crimes, right? Looking at preventive, right? So by the time a cop gets to you, if something happened, it's already too late. The crime already happened. So how can we do things as preventative? So one of the things I wanted to let everybody know, we are doing a women's self-defense class this upcoming Friday. We're actually bringing a professional UFC fighter that's going to provide the training. Those are the type of things that I am bringing in this election, right? In this position, is looking at the multi-dimensional things that is reducing crime. So if you're available, you can go to my website or Facebook, and you can follow. Is a free event for all women who wants to participate. And then the other thing is better infrastructure. If you, like I mentioned earlier, if you go onto the roads and you have those potholes, if you have inadequate sidewalks, if you don't have the right lighting, right, that ties back to crime. If you don't have the right lighting, what happens at dark, right? Well, if I'm bored and it's a dark area, I might be prone to go and rob that car or do something in that area. So we need to focus on having the right infrastructure. In my precinct, I still have sand roads where ambulance with the police cannot even go in and provide emergency assistance. Just down the road from where I live, there is one of the ladies that I have met, which normally she's voted Democrat, but she's actually going to be supporting my campaign. She had her sister, recently she passed. She's called the ambulance multiple times, and every time that she did, the ambulance had to stop 2 blocks from her house and actually had to walk the stretcher to her house. That is critical time for them to provide aid. And just like that neighbor that I have, there is countless others in my precinct across, not just in the San Antonio area, but in Somerset and Von Army, that just cannot get the right resources. We need to focus on better infrastructure, on primary things, the things that the people need in order to just have a quality life. And then lastly, financial growth. We in a commissioner's court need to be able to work with our businesses, work with our nonprofits to be able to provide and bring in that community, that sense of belonging, so we can attract more work, so we can have the right jobs available. So if I'm a graduate of a high school and now I finish school and there's no opportunities within my area, what do? Right? What does those things that can be allow me to change the trajectory of the rest of my family? We need to be able to bring jobs to the area, the right jobs to the area, so we can get our generation to have more equitable opportunities.
Well, it sounds like a plan to me. You can. There you go. She's a quick learner,
I
man.
know,
I'm telling you, these Leadership Latino graduates are on top of it. But, crime, infrastructure, economic development for Precinct 1 in San Antonio sounds like a winning platform to me. Lina, we know that you're busy, you're working, and we just want to thank you for taking the time. And we're going to have you on multiple times between now and next November in 2024, but we need to have an early start. We are committed to making sure that you are elected as the next Commissioner of Precinct 1 in Bexar County, San Antonio. We will probably have some boots on the ground for you. We will be phone banking. We will be block walking with you. We will be doing commercials for you. We will have you on this program. We will be helping you in any way. So don't forget to reach out to Texas Latino Conservatives, because at the end of the day, this is our mission. We've been on the air for 2.5, 3 years now. We keep telling you here's what we're doing in Texas, and this is proof. We are developing the greatest candidates, whether it's Lina Prado or whether it's Cassie Garcia or Roman Garcia or
Mayra
Flores, Monica de la Cruz, or whether it's Freddie Arellano, or whether it's Dan Corrales in Midland, Odessa. This is what we do. We help find the creme de la creme of young, conservative Hispanics, and they don't all have to be Hispanics, full of energy, the future leaders of Texas. So this is the byproduct of your investment, your contribution, and we have to get Lina across the finish line. So that's why I'm making an appeal to you folks to go to her website and donate. No contribution is too small. If you live in Bexar County and you're on fixed income, but you want to see a change in Precinct 1, make a $5 donation on her website. If you're an entrepreneur and you've had some success and you want to repay the community by getting involved in critical issues in politics, make a $10,000 contribution to Lina Prado for Commissioner Precinct 1 in Bexar County. Lina, I'm going to let Andrea ask her signature question. We thank you for being on the show. And what do you say?
Call to action, Lina. Call to action and the message.
So just call to action. We need to change Bexar County. We need to ensure that the voice of the community is representing on the way that we are managing the budget. So for that, please go to lina-prado.com and help me get to that finish line, and let's change Bexar County. Muchas gracias por todo el apoyo a todos.
Que Dios te bendiga.
Perfecto.
Mira.
Something that I forgot to ask her, and I don't know if you know, what is the Latino representation in the Commissioner's Court in Bexar County?
I don't know, Mark. Mark, I don't know if he can pull it up.
Well, Lina's still there. I don't know if she knows. Lina, what is the Latino representation in? Just put a mute. What is the Latino representation in Commissioner's Court in Bexar County?
So right now you do have some representation in Commissioner's Court. I believe is 25% or 45% that are Latinos.
So of the four commissioners, how many are Hispanic?
One.
Okay. How many African Americans on there? People of color.
One.
Okay.
Oh,
So
of
there's
color. There is four, because you have Judge Sakai is actually a person of color.
So you have four African Americans on the Commissioner's Court?
So I say people of color, right? There's only one African American, but Judge Sakai.
Okay.
He's,
when we say, I don't think Hispanics identify as people of color unless you are of African descent. But okay. Well, thank you, Lina. Appreciate you being on the program.
Thank you.
Okay, well, good show.
Good show. I want to remind everybody we're still in early voting. I'm gonna go and vote today.
I voted yesterday.
Yeah, I'm gonna go vote today.
And, sadly, Andrea, there are 50 voting machines. There was only 6 people voting, and every night I get a report of how many people have turned out.
Yeah.
So I can see how many people voted at Trini Mendenhall Center, how many people voted in Sunnyside, how many people voted at the Multipurpose Center on West Gray, how many people went to Tracy G. And I got to tell you, the numbers are pretty low. So Again, don't be the dog sitting on the nail on the porch in East Texas. Don't moan and groan. Get up.
Yeah.
Get up off the nail
Yeah.
and go vote. Because, this city, everybody wants to complain.
It's a scary like Halloween that people are not voting.
Yeah. I've been campaigning now for 4 months, and I hear it everywhere I go. Oh, crime is out of control. What's going on with the judges in Harris County? We don't have enough police officers. We got one candidate running for office talking about the streets and the potholes. Get up off the nail. Go vote.
Yes. So thank you so much for being with us. And also, besides visiting Lina Prado website, now visit us also at TexasLatinoConservatives.com, TexasLatinoConservatives.com. We have Leadership Latino coming up in January. So, the end of the year is around the corner. Next month is Thanksgiving, then Christmas, New Year, and that's it.
And I think we need to leave you with one of our commercials.
Yes.
So, again, this is, and let me set this up because these are commercials that part of our mission is to message Hispanics, Latinos in Texas who have for decades been bombarded with a very liberal message. And as we all know in Texas, and particularly in South Texas, historically, people voted Democrat. In fact, when the Democratic primary was over, when the primary season was over, hardly anyone turned out the general election because the elections were decided because there was never any Republicans running in South Texas.
No.
It was all Democrats. So whoever won the primary was the winner. That's changing, but we have to continue to message South Texas, our fellow hardworking Tejanos, Mexican Americans, South Texans, about the truth. So let's run a commercial that we're running down in South Texas.
Julian is a Texas Latino. He was raised on hard work, faith, and family. Now, Julian is where he wants to be. But the Democratic Party we believed in, they're not with us anymore. They've lost touch with our beliefs. Work hard, have faith, family first. Now, that makes Julian a conservative.
Yo no sabía.
And there's millions out there just like you. Click, like, follow us at TexasLatinoConservatives.com.
Fe y familia, valores con los que nacimos, en lo que creemos y lo que nos mantiene unidos. Durante décadas nos han dicho que el Partido Demócrata creía en nosotros, pero ahora está claro que sus creencias no son las mismas que las nuestras, que creen en ti. Son conservadores latinos de Texas.
Entonces soy conservadora y no lo sabía.
Encuentra un candidato que represente tus valores visitando TexasLatinoConservatives.com.
Now, who's that attractive woman?
Oh my God. Okay, I need to tell the story about that commercial. I was not supposed to be on the commercial. I was supposed to only to do the voiceover. That day, we were filming all day, and we were coaching candidates, and we were coaching people talking on camera. And they said, okay, Andrea, sit there, and we're going to film the commercial. We're going to film the voiceover. I said, film the voiceover, okay, but I can go to the audio room. No, just stay here. We have the camera. I had no makeup. Lucky me that the day before I went to my dear friend Jackie, that she does my hair. So my hair was done, but I didn't have any makeup. I was not well dressed and everything. And it turns out that yesterday we were talking about that is the commercial that has more views than the other commercials. Crazy.
Exactly. And I'll tell you what, now I'm going to put a plug in for your client. Okay? Dr. Newell.
Dr.
Right?
Herman Newell, plastic surgeon.
Okay, I wasn't going to say that, but,
It's
that
fine.
does the cosmetic
I'm not
surgery.
ashamed.
Let me just tell you, because I have to admit, and I'm a little jealous, that her commercials are getting more views. I think we've only run them a few days, and they're like 60,000 views.
Yeah.
That she looks as lovely without makeup as she does here with makeup today. And that's a real credit to Dr. Newell.
Well, Come on. The
No, I know he's had to do
the
a lot of
no, the product.
I know he's
no,
had
no,
to
no,
do
no,
a
no,
lot
no.
of work.
Mark, please help me here. Mark, our producer, needs to say something.
I think we're going to have to credit Andrea's makeup skills on her own.
Makeup. Okay, none of you guys say the right thing. First of all, I am beautiful regardless.
Okay, here we go.
Okay?
Here we go.
But then, yes, I need to admit that with the help of Dr. Newell,
Okay.
he gave me a refresh.
Yes.
Last year
Yeah.
before I
Looks like
just right after I turned 50.
Right.
Right after I turned 50, he gave me a refresh, not a surgery procedure. It was a non-surgical procedure, and I'm okay admitting that, and I will do another one next month. So
How about we credit Andrea's genes?
let's credit my parents, my
There we
dear mom, my beautiful mom.
Okay,
She's
enough of
gorgeous.
that. Enough of that. The point is, this is what we're working hard on. I mean, you folks just saw a 30-second commercial, but let me tell you, this takes months of production, and they're not cheap. I mean, we don't take an iPhone and
This is like a
go video a
cinematography
commercial.
production.
This is high quality, and I can tell you the people of South Texas that we're sending these commercials to obviously appreciate them because they're watching them.
Yeah.
And for those of you that contribute to Texas Latino Conservatives, I've been in politics for 30 years. Campaigns are not won by swooping in a week before the election and browbeating Hispanics and telling them, vote conservative, vote Republican. What does that mean when the entire year the left-leaning media has been trashing conservatives and Republicans? You have to make an investment. These are the investments. We spend all of the off-election time on the ground training people like Lina Prado, Mayra Flores, Freddie Arellano, the women that won the Katy Independent School District. This is what we're doing. We don't go away when there's not an election. We are on the ground working. We're sending mailers. We're running phone banks. We're block walking. We're producing videos. We're out raising money to keep our head above water to keep this organization going. But so that's why it's important, and that's why every time we come on the show, we ask you for a donation. Not, it can be $5 or $50,000, but keep us going because we're doing great stuff in Texas. And I even have better news for you. We just concluded our award-winning poll that we refresh every year of registered voters in Texas, Hispanic registered voters. And the news is good. It's coming out in about a week or two, and we will be sharing with you the results of our poll here in the state of Texas. But there's good news, but we got to keep the pedal to the metal. Republicans got to quit making mistakes. And let me, while we have a few minutes, let me talk about a mistake. Because people ask me all the time, what does TLC do? Well, we educate Hispanics about conservatism when we tell them to vote their values. We lay out in front of them the difference between the left and conservatives. We talk to them about our vision for a better Texas and a better United States. We talk about the importance of participating in the electoral process and being smart about voting. But we also educate Republicans on how to talk to the Hispanic community because Republicans, conservatives, make mistake after mistake after mistake. And I'm going to give you an example of one, and I'm going to be very honest about it. Over the course of the last couple of weeks, particularly around the time that the Attorney General was impeached, he has been talking about an issue called Colony Ridge, which is just north of Houston, near the Cleveland area. Colony Ridge has been around for decades, folks. And all of a sudden, it's those mean-ass, nasty Hispanic immigrants that are causing problems. Really? Really? This is the issue that you're going to raise? If you want to go after Colony Ridge, why don't you focus on providing infrastructure? Because we've been through this before. South Texas had colonias. These were underserved communities of mostly Hispanics. These Hispanics came across the border because our border, your border, has been open for 45 years. both under Republicans and Democrats. And now these people are using their hard-earned money, their taxpayers, they bought their property, and they're underserved. And now Republicans in the legislature, led by Attorney General Paxton, are going after the residents of Colony Ridge. Come on, guys, stand up. Provide infrastructure, provide services. They're paying taxes. And so that's not a winning issue for you in the Latino community. So wake up and let's focus on issues on bringing people together and solving problems for tax-paying residents of the state of Texas. And that's my message today.
Let's go to vote. Let's go to vote.
Let's go to vote.
Vamos a votar.
See you guys next week. Thank you for tuning in.
Nos vemos el próximo miércoles. Chao, chao.